Hey, today we're going to explore some preparation poses for the headstand. So the headstand, it's quite an iconic yoga posture. It requires really strength in the core, a bit of strength in the arms, but maybe not quite as much as you might think at first. And then also to get into the pose, we need open shoulders and hamstrings to be able to get in and out, as well as that element of balance, of course, to be in the pose itself. So we'll be doing a short practice that includes all of those elements and then starts to explore the headstand. So even if headstand's a little bit out of your practice, feel free to kind of practice along with the preparation postures so that you kind of still know that in your yoga practice, you're working towards something like the headstand. So we're going to start with a little bit of working on the core. So you can come to lie down on the back. And we're going to set up with the hands, actually similar position that we would do for the headstand. So you can come to lie down. You're going to interlace the fingers, bring the hands behind the head, and then draw the elbows in a little towards each other, lift up the head. So we're lifting a little the shoulders, strengthening through the core here. And then you're going to see how it feels just to first have knees above the hips, legs reaching a little forward. And then you might inhale, legs extend, and exhale, bending the knees. Inhale and exhale. Doing this a few times, inhaling and exhale. See if you can keep lifting up, drawing the elbows a little closer. And then we're going to pause a few breaths. Knees might be bent, half bent, or straight here. Great. The legs are straight. See if you can point the toes, extend the legs away. And then slowly exhale, releasing. Release the hands down. And just take a moment to hug the knees into the chest here. Great. So you can inhale, come up to sitting. So hopefully there you felt a bit the strength in the belly. That's going to be our balance point in the headstand. So doing something like that at the beginning will really help tap in to where those muscles are for when you need them for the headstand. We're going to now come over onto the hands and knees. We're going to come into a child's pose. So arms are going to be out in front, head drops down. And you're going to be in the child's pose with the arms nice and active, hands heavy. Seeing if you can lengthen through the front of the shoulders and just walk the hands a little bit further away than you might normally do. And at the same time, sink your hips a little bit more down and back. From here, we're going to bend the elbows. So elbows are coming down, hands together, head down, and just drawing the hands a little back towards the back of the head here. So we're just opening through the front of the shoulder. So again, an area we really need to be open in our headstand. Slow breath in and slow breath out. Staying here one more breath. And then you can inhale and slowly come up. Now we're going to come to a plank pose, but not the plank we normally do in yoga with the hands on the ground. But we're going to come with the elbows on the ground. So this will help us use the core a little more. The hands are going to be interlaced. And when you do this, your small little fingers want to be not stacked, but next to each other, because that will give a little bit more base of support. And this is very similar to what we're going to be doing in the bound headstand. So elbows are down here. Walk the feet a little away. Notice if your hips are lifting up. So this is making it easier, not using so much core there. So just allow the hips to drop a little down. Firm through the belly, really lengthen through the legs. And then we're going to inhale, start to walk the feet forward. So hips are lifting up. We're really finding that length through the hamstrings here. Lift, rather than sinking shoulders down, we're lifting up out through the shoulders. And then you're walking the feet back again, finding your nice low plank position. And then we're walking feet forward, so lengthen through the hamstrings, keeping heels nice and high. And once more, slowly walking the heels back again. We'll do this one more time. So inhale, lift up through the shoulders, and exhale, walk the feet away. And then you can drop the knees down and once more come to your child's pose. You can come up on the inhale. So we're going to do one more pose to open through the front of the shoulders. Now with the legs here, you could have your left leg bent, right knee coming on top. So we're coming kind of Gomukhasana, a cow face pose with legs and arms. If this doesn't feel so comfortable for the hips, your leg underneath, so in this case, the left leg could be extended, or you could have that bent, so up to you there. Inhale, start to reach both arms up, and now you're going to bend the left arm here. Hold the right elbow with the knee. Left hand comes behind. Inhale, lengthening a little up. And then exhale, if you've got the space, you're just with that right hand drawing the left elbow behind the head here. That feels uncomfortable. You can have the elbow a little wider. And if this still doesn't feel good, elbow can be a little bit more out or forward. And over time, you're kind of first finding the left elbow with the right hand, and then you're lengthening it up and drawing it over. You can slowly release, so releasing the arms, shaking out through the shoulders. And then we'll change sides, so you can just change the legs, change the leg underneath. Cross the opposite leg on top. Inhale, start to reach up through the arms. This time it's the right arm that bends. Left hand comes to the elbow. Lifting the elbow a little up if you can. And then drawing it a little back behind. Taking a couple of slow, steady breaths. And then you can slowly release, releasing the arms, taking a couple of shrugs of the shoulders. And then from here, you're going to come to lie back down on the back again. We'll do a little bit of hamstring work here, hamstring lengthening. So right knee's coming in, left leg's going to extend. You're holding the back of the right thigh, so I like to call this the belly of the thigh, and extending the right leg away. Now, if it's not so comfortable bringing the right leg in and having it straight, you could start with the leg straight and further away, or have the leg a little bent and be actively holding the back of your thigh and actively working towards lengthening the leg here. What we need for the headstand is the leg needs to be at least sort of able to be straight in line with the hip to be able to come into the pose. So that's something you can kind of work on. If you've got more flexibility, it's going to help you coming up into that headstand without having to kick up. So you can slowly exhale, release. We're going to bring the left knee in, right leg extends, hold the back of the thigh, slowly extend the left leg away from you. Again, if it's kind of cramping, you can support the back of the thigh a little more with the hands, bring the leg a little away or bend the knee a little. If the leg is bent, again, you're pressing the foot actively away to help lengthen out through your hamstring. Slowly then exhale, release. You can roll from here up to sitting. And now we're going to come into the preparation posture for headstand. So we've done all our kind of warm-ups and setups. We'll do this away from the wall since we won't be going fully up into the headstand. So you can come over through the hands and knees. Like we did in one of the warm-ups, we're interlacing the fingers, having both little fingers out flat. And you really want to make sure your elbows stay under the shoulders throughout rather than spreading out to the side. So this will happen often and it's going to make the support a lot less steady. And it's going to mean as well you aren't using the structure of your bones. So you'll have to use more strength in the arms instead. So you're going to place the crown of the head down. You're going to lift up through the hips. And now, like we were doing in the preparation, you don't want to sort of sink down, but you want to really lengthen out through the shoulders. And then you're just going to walk the feet a little in, sort of as far as you can. This is where the length of the hamstring is really important. You're trying to bring most of the weight into the forearms, not in the head. And then you're going to slowly exhale, release. Come down to child's pose, relax the shoulders, and just slow down through the breath. Now the positioning of the part of your head that comes on the mat is important here to have most comfort through the head and the neck. Now, there is a kind of a flat part of the head that we want to find to rest on the ground. A nice way to play around with that, if you're not sure, is to try to balance something on your head. So you might want to find a block or a cushion, anything as long as it's not going to, be too heavy or break if it was to fall. And you just want to place it on your head. Yeah. Oop. So you're just seeing if you can find the balance on the head, and then you can just take whatever you were sort of balancing away. Just tap the head a couple of times so you know exactly where you want the head to be. And then we'll try this out once more in this half position. So once more, interlacing the fingers. Little fingers are flat, elbows are in under the shoulders. Flat part of the head comes onto the mat, and then you start to walk your feet in. So we're now using, again, the hamstrings, we're using the arms here. You might really walk in, so you're just balancing on the little toes. And then you're going to slowly come back out again, release, and come back to your child's pose. Slowly coming back up again. Now from here, I would say this is the point where we're going to explore the headstand itself. So if this preparation posture felt intense, I would for now just practice that a couple more times, stick with that for a period of time. I'm going to show the next bit without a wall. But often when you're learning something like this to begin with, it can be helpful having that feedback and that little comfort of using the wall. So feel free to have a wall behind you if you like. Just be careful if you're using the wall that you don't start just kicking up into the wall and not really finding that foundation that will help you with the balance. So we're going to Once more, set up in the same way. You're going to interlace the fingers, little fingers are down. Head rests here. You're going to start to walk the feet in as far as you can. And then you're just seeing if you can tuck one foot in and slowly tuck the other. And slowly release. And by coming up in this way, so we're coming into a little sort of tucked position, as we find a lot more stability than if we kick up. And probably what will happen is we roll out the other side. So you can try that again, elbows in, head comes down. Keeping the neck nice and long, walking the feet in. And then again, you're tucking one foot in. Seeing if you can tuck the other. Keep grounding through the elbows, lifting up through the shoulders, and then coming out and coming to your child's pose. Now from here, we're going to try first coming to that tucked position and then seeing if we can lengthen the legs up for the headstand. So you can once more come into the pose. Once more dropping the head down, walking the feet in, keeping the elbows nice and close, tucking one foot, tucking the other, and then seeing if you can slowly lift. Really drawing the strength through the belly here. Extending up through the legs. Maybe finding that full headstand. Or you could be just one leg up, one leg down. And then slowly exhaling, releasing. And coming to rest in the child's pose. Now, this progression may take several weeks or several months to move from that tucked position to lifting up. I'd like to just show one other variation with the wall, which is more kicking up, which tends to be easier, but a little bit less secure. And then seeing if you can come down with control. And then over time, because you've got used to that way of coming down with control, that might also allow you to find that same sort of skill set to come up with control. Usually coming down with control should be easier. So yeah, we're going to use the wall. But you're going to try to touch the wall as little as possible. Okay. So you're interlacing again the fingers. By the way, you're a little bit away from the wall, so you don't want to have your hands right up at the wall. That won't give you space. You're a little bit away. Head comes down, feet come up, elbows nice and heavy. Walk, walk, walk. And then you might first come to that tucked, and then you might kind of heavily come over. So legs are coming into the wall. You might be a little bit more in a banana shape now. Now see just one leg at a time. So one knee pops in, the other heel is coming away from the wall. You're trying to balance just with one leg. And then you're slowly, slowly, slowly coming down. And then you can rest in your child's pose. And you can keep trying that a few times. So slowly coming down, and with one knee bent, other leg straight, is the easiest. Now, just to kind of complete this video, I'm going to also show a version which will come later once you've got used to coming up with one leg bent, of how you can explore coming down with both legs. With both legs straight, I would recommend first being able to be in the middle of the room. So let's come again away from the wall. Once more, interlacing the fingers. Head comes down, hips left, walk, walk, walk. Seeing if you can tuck. Bring the other foot. Finding that extension. And then to come down with straight legs, you want your hips to draw back. So hips coming a little bit behind the back of the head, legs coming a little forward, and then you're slowly, slowly coming down. Now that position of coming down with straight legs requires quite some openness in the hamstrings, so keep that in mind. And then you can just come to rest again, child's pose. Do a nice spinal twist as a nice counter pose, so you can come onto your back. Hug your right knee into the chest. Right knee comes over to the left. Right arm reaches to the right. Eyes could close here. Head can turn to one side. Slowly come through the middle. Right leg extends, left knee draws in. Left knee comes to the right. Left arm reaches to the left. Again, eyes can close. And just let the breath be full, be deep. And then slowly coming through the middle again. And then you can come to rest in your Shavasana. Wiggling the fingers, wiggling through your toes. Reaching the arms up and over the head. And then you can roll onto one side and come slowly up to sitting again. Yeah, I hope you went through this practice at your own pace and kind of really listened to your body, particularly if headstand is new, since there's a lot of things happening here. It is a challenging posture. I recommend, if you're not so comfortable with shoulder stand, maybe starting with that. And once you're kind of got the practice of the shoulder stand, it will really help develop certain elements of your headstand. They're both inversions after all, but the one, of course, is balancing on the shoulder and the other on the head. So yeah, I hope you can have fun with it, and do see as quick as possible if you can start moving away from the wall, and even learning kind of how to roll and fall will really help take away some fear that might be there about falling over from your headstand. So if you'd like a bit of help structuring your home yoga practice, You can check out the home yoga guide I've got. The link for that is in the description of this video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye.